Elon Musk, Tesla bot, and minimum wage. What do they have in common, and why is minimum wage bad? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Firstly, Elon Musk's Tesla bot didn't look really that impressive compared to the Boston Dynamics one, but I'm not going to delve on that comparison. Just to say that Elon Musk said his robot he envisaged below $20,000, maybe even $17,000 to $20,000 cost for his robot to do menial tasks. Now, as he was talking about it, I was reminded of two things that were said to me by the 2IC of a company many years ago. That was, all tasks, no matter how complex, if they are repetitive, they can be done by a robot. Now, he wasn't meaning a Tesla robot or anything like that, but he was meaning a machine robot, like an industrial plant type robot. If the task is repetitive, no matter how complex, if it's repetitive, we can replace a human with a robot, and they will look to do that if the cost of the robot is equal to or less than 2 years' cost of the human. Now, what that means is, if the human's wages were $50,000 plus an extra $15,000 for insurance, retirement, sickness, health, clothing, and so on, for a total of $65,000 cost to the company per year, $130,000 over 2 years. Now, what that meant was, if they could find a machine for $130,000 or less, that's 2 years human cost, to do the same job as that human, they would remove the human and put the machine in place. And of course, if there were 3 humans, then the cost they're willing to spend is more. It's the 3 years worth of the 3 humans. So 2 humans would be $260,000. If they can replace 2 humans with a $260,000 or less robot, they would do it. That's how they looked at it. That flashed into my mind hearing Elon Musk's words. Now, what that means for minimum wage is this. In that company's example, the cost was $130,000 to replace a human. What if the machine cost $150,000? And he said they wouldn't do it. If the machine cost $150,000 but the human cost $130,000 over 2 years, they wouldn't do it. For them, the cost-benefit ratio, tax deduction, whatever. Even though you can get tax deductions for machines for 3 years, for them, they said it was 2 years. Okay, so the human is going along fine. Then suddenly the human's like, you know what, $5 an hour pay rise, thanks. Because minimum wage has gone up $5 an hour. Suddenly, over 2 years, we're looking at a little bit over $20,000 increase to the company. Now, 2 years worth of that human is at the $150,000 mark. Now the company says, all right, well, the machine costs $150,000 and now it costs us $150,000 for that human because mandatory wage rise, minimum wage rise, we're now going to get the machine. Sorry, you've lost your job. That, in a nutshell, is why minimum wage increases are bad. It's great for the person. They think it's great for them. But what they don't realize is their boss has to pay that. And if they can't absorb that or pass it on through higher prices, they can't absorb it. To absorb it might send them out of business, especially if they've got 10 staff or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 staff, suddenly having to pay an extra $5 an hour for 10 staff or even 100 staff. That might send them under. This is why staff are hated by all companies. And this is why what that 2IC said to me shows you that a company will get rid of you as soon as it's financially prudent, or as soon as it's financially prudent to do so. They have no loyalty to you, which means all jobs are temporary. Either the company gets rid of you, you leave, or the company closes. That's it. Doesn't matter how long you're there, your job is temporary. You might be there for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. At some point, you will move on, which means your job was only temporary. Now, you take the case of, let's say, an Australian worker that might be getting paid $24 an hour in Australia. And then the government says, well, the government doesn't have to say anything, Maybe they work in a call center. And that company says, look, I can pay someone in India $8 an hour. And the person in India, the $8 an hour does them great due to discrepancies in currency valuations, which means I can get 3 Indians in a call center for 1 Australian, or I can have 10 Indians in a call center, which is fantastic because that's only going to cost me $80 an hour. It would cost me $240 an hour in wages for 10 Australians. I can save $160 an hour I'm using the Indians. So if they can't get rid of you fully, they'll look to outsource. Now let's say that that's not an option, but they can't get rid of you fully either. Well, then the other 2 options the company has, especially if the minimum wage goes up, is, well, okay, Jono, you're now getting paid $5 an hour more. Sorry, Steve-O, you're out the door. And Jono, you're now going to do Steve-O's job as well. Well, I'm paying you more, so you're going to do more. This is the logic. You want more money, you do more work. And if you've got multiple staff, well, I can't do all that work. That's okay. I'll share it between the 4 of you. So that company might have had 5 staff, now suddenly finding themselves having to pay an extra $25 an hour for nothing. Will jettison that guy. Dunk, gone. Now pays $5 an hour for 4 people, $5 extra, but saved that whole staff member's money. So maybe their staff cost is now equal and those 4 people absorb the job. Okay, what if that doesn't happen? What if that's not possible? Well, then they're looking at it like the 2 I see. All right, $5 an hour. That's now going to cost me X dollars. And in the case of you've gone from $20 an hour to $25 an hour, they're looking at going, $10,000 a year, $20,000 over 2 years, $20,000 over 2 years, the Tesla bot for 20 grand. I'm liking the sound of that. And not only am I liking the sound of that, but I could possibly get 2 Tesla bots. And even if it's not a Tesla bot, in the case of a cafe, I don't need you to take an order. Get the hell out. I'll put the electronic order thing in like you see in a lot of McDonald's now. Go up to the kiosk, place your order. There's not even anyone there to take your order now. Go to the kiosk, place your order, wait, and when someone yells out, order 32, then you go and get it. That's an option a cafe's got as well. Instead of someone to bring the order to your table, they could yell out and say, table 12, or I'm going to buy the Tesla bot for 20 grand because now I can, because I was forced to get rid of the staff because I can't afford a $5 increase in wages. Tesla bot comes up, table 12, Tesla bot goes and gives the mail to table 12. That's what we're looking at. That's the reality. So while on the surface it does seem minimum wage increases are fantastic, they're actually detrimental because they encourage companies to jettison workers instead and adopt technology to replace those workers. And it makes the technology the more cost-effective, favourable option as the companies look at their ongoing costs. They're not looking at a cost of 1 year's wages. They're looking at a cost of 2, 3, 4, 5 years because they can write off that technology over 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. So minimum wages sound good in theory, in increases, but in practice, they encourage companies to get rid of workers and replace them with technology. But let me know what you think in the comments below.